My name is Chris Murphy. I'm a United States Senator from Connecticut, and there is probably no issue that matters more to me than the safety of our kids. I was elected to the United States Senate in November of 2012, and about a month after I was elected, I got news one morning that there had been a shooting at an elementary school in Connecticut, in Newtown, Connecticut. That turned out, of course, to be the murder of 20 first grade children at Sandy Hook Elementary School. 6 of their teachers, their educators, died that day as well. And ever since then, I have devoted my life to trying to make our schools, our communities, our streets safer. I care about this issue because of what happened in Sandy Hook, but I care about this issue because this plague of gun violence, it exists every single day in many neighborhoods all around the country, especially poorer neighborhoods that tend to be more violent. I also care about this issue because I've got kids now. I've got kids who go to public schools, who go through metal detectors, who have to live through active shooter drills. As a parent, I am furious that my kids have to think about their physical safety, have to worry about whether they're going to survive a day at school. It's hard enough being a kid these days with the pandemic and social media to have to worry about whether there's going to be a shooter spraying bullets out of an assault weapon in your classroom. It's just too much. So I've spent the last 10 years trying to build a movement in this country that cares about our kids' safety, that cares about our citizens' safety. And it's been a long 10 years. A lot of people expected right after Sandy Hook we would get legislation passed that would ban assault weapons or high capacity magazines, or legislation that would require every gun purchase to come with a background check. But that didn't happen. We needed to build political support around these measures. We needed to eventually be as powerful as a movement of parents and kids as the NRA was. Finally, that moment arrived in 2022 after the shootings in Buffalo and Uvalde. Members of the Senate went back home and realized that they had a tempest on their hands. They had a public that just wasn't going to take no or nothing for an answer again. And so when we came back to Washington in the spring and summer of 2022, we started work across the aisle on a piece of legislation that would be the first significant gun safety bill in 30 years. That bill eventually became the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. We passed it in the summer of 2022. The NRA opposed it. All the gun rights groups opposed it, but we still got enough Republican support combined with Democratic support to pass it into law. And it is saving lives as we speak. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act has 5 major changes in gun laws that make sure that no domestic abuser can get a gun or possess a gun. It puts a waiting period on purchases of guns for those under 21 years old, a cooling off period for many kids who are in crisis. It ratchets up the penalties on gun traffickers, the people who trade in illegal guns. It helps states pass red flag laws. These are laws that temporarily take guns away from people who are threatening harm to themselves or others. And it requires more gun sellers to do background checks, more part-time gun sellers. It also puts $15 billion into mental health and school safety. I don't think that the issue of gun violence in this country is primarily a mental health issue. We have just as much mental illness as any other country, but we have all the gun violence. It's primarily a guns problem. But why not use this moment to try to get more mental health resources into the community? And that's what the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act does. When it comes down to it, maybe the most important obligation you have as a United States Senator is to make sure that your constituents are safe from physical harm, right? Nothing matters more to a human being than the safety of their loved one. I mean, I'd give up my house, my savings, my car, anything, if it guaranteed the physical safety of my kids. And so why don't we act like that in Congress? Why don't we act like the physical safety of our children is the most important thing? Why are we so cavalier about our kids' safety? Well, we started to do things right last year. We finally started acting like we care as much as parents do about the safety of our kids. And my belief is that the passage of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is the beginning, not the end, that it will set off an era in which we are going to start making our gun laws about the safety of our communities and the safety of our kids, not about the profits of the gun industry.